what's up YouTube? Guess what? I am now an Amazon influencer, which means that I have an Amazon marketplace store online, which you should check out because I will be recommending tons of new products I like on Amazon, things that help me get through the day, things that help me relieve stress, things that I just simply think are amazing and cool. So you should check it out. I think it's like amazon.com/JuliusCreates. I don't know exactly, probably should know that, but I will include the link right here or somewhere in this space when I edit this video. So this is something that came to me last week when I was talking to my sister about like all the family drama that we have, blah, 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 blah. That's like, I don't even know how I'm gonna spell that into like these videos, because that's something I definitely need to talk about. Regardless, it came to the point where we were talking about relationships and how do you deal with toxic relationships that you feel like you have to hold on to, or relationships that negatively impact you in any way. Specifically, like, what do you do when like your family members are the ones who are like causing you all this stress, anxiety, and like mental hardship? I say, let it go. A lot of the problems that we face, when we put them out in front of us, we realize that the consequences really don't impact us. Not that they impact other people either, necessarily, but like the trade-offs really aren't that big. Let's give an example. I think the first time when I kind of had this like epiphany in like my young mind was in high school. I was doing debates and I was doing swimming, not very well. Debate, yes. Swimming, no. But I felt like I had to sort of continue to be on the swim team for whatever reason at the time, mostly because my swim coach was sort of like, yay, swimming. My friends were like, yay, swimming. Everyone was like, yay, swimming. And I was like, I hate this shit. I hated swimming so much. I mean, I'm doing it now. I love swimming, but in high school, doing swimming and debate plus like going to the school I went to was not a great combination. So one day, I think, actually it wasn't just one day, I had been thinking like, I'm going to quit the swim team. I'm going to quit. But I kept on thinking like, all right, all my friends are on the swim team. Only people I ever hang out with are on the swim team. Like, if I quit this, like I'm severing like my life. People are gonna be upset. Like, what's going on? And like what I didn't realize at the time is that like one, like I'm not like the best swimmer on the team, nor am like I that crucial member. Like everyone's a crucial member of the team, but like if I quit, it's not gonna be like freaking LeBron James like left the team, or like if it was a basketball team, whatever. So yeah, I quit, and I realized that like when like who am I hurting? Like besides like I have all these false narratives in my head of something that's gonna happen, but like no one's holding me to this team. I don't have to do this. It'd be so much easier if I just like let it go. And it was like the best thing that ever could have happened to me, in the sense that like I had much more time. I felt like, you know, that you have that feeling that before practice, I would have this feeling of like in my stomach, I'd be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. This is like physically hurting me to do this. And I've had that experience with a lot of like friendships, clubs, just a lot of things that, you know, like we don't want to do. And some things, you know, you can't avoid. Like you have to go to work unless you're just balling out money, or, you know, you have to like do certain things, jury duty, voting, like, all right, maybe not those things necessarily, but you know what I'm saying. There's certain things that you can't get like around. Like you can't say like, I give 0 fucks about anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this person right now. No, this is not what this video is meant to be. And I think this might be just specific to people with anxiety issues, because we blow things up in our minds a lot bigger. So if you're watching this video and you're like, this dude is like weird, like these things are all super simple that like anybody would think about. It's not with people with anxiety. You overthink and it gets super, super complex in your mind and you make up these scenarios. It's more so about thinking that like life is too short. Life is too short to hold on to these things that are dragging you down. I think last semester I had a hard time. I had just found out I was bipolar. I was going through all these different mood shifts. I was like super, super depressed. But then at the same time, towards the end of the year, I had like these like huge energy spikes. It was like, my mood was all over the place. And my father was also sick and he was going through some things. So I remember I had to go to Atlanta and I had to spend some time there because I wanted to go visit him, make sure everything was okay. He's fine, he's great. But I was super like depressed and I had a lot of anxiety, and I literally was like, I don't want to leave home. I think this was like 2 weeks before school got out. If y'all don't know, Atlanta is where I am in North Carolina. It's like 4.5, 5 hour drive. It's not that bad. So I was sitting there and I missed 2 days of school. One, because I wanted to just continue spending time with my father, because like he has ALS, he was sick, he was in the hospital, shit was going on, he could die at any moment. And then two, because like I have anxiety literally, if you know it, like people who know and have anxiety, and for people who don't, my body would not let me leave that house. My body was like, no, you're not doing this. And at the same time, in my mind, it became even worse because I was thinking like, I have class. I can't just like skip class. I have Chinese to go to. Chinese was the big thing. I have to do things. So at the end of the day, like it came a point where I was just like, I am stressing about all these things and stress is not going to do anything to solve this. So I was like, fuck it. I'm not going to class. Like at that point, like when it came down to like health, like it's my health, it's my father's health, like those things, I was like, what is a grade? What is a class? Like none of that means anything in the grand scheme of things. Like if I'm dead or if my father dies, like fuck that bullshit, basically. Excuse my profanity. It's just that, you know, in life sometimes you have to use certain adjectives to get your point across. I talked to one of my teachers. She was super chill about it. She totally understood, like, yeah, my father was dying. I had anxiety problems. Just found out I was bipolar. Like, yeah, missing like a few more days of class towards the end is not gonna kill me. My Chinese teacher, on the other hand, was like, well, I need an excuse from like blah, 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 some bullshit. I don't know. I don't need another excuse besides the fact that like my father's like in the hospital and that like I can't like, I'm not sure if like she just didn't understand like the whole scenario or what, but that's not the point. The point was that like she was basically saying that like I wouldn't get those days excused and that would drop my grade. I think at this time I had a B. I ended up with like a C+ in that class because I missed those 2 days and I missed assignments and I wasn't able to make them back up. It was actually a little bit funny just like in the context of it all. I remember my Chinese teacher telling me like, oh, well, I can't excuse these days because like, you know, you don't have a note or whatever, like anything missed. And in my mind, I was just thinking like, well, I have anxiety issues. They happen. I have panic attacks like 3 times a day right now. I'm like, can't go to the doctor every single time that happens. I'm not going to provide you with like proof that my father was like in the hospital. That's just like, I mean, I guess I could have lied about that, but at this point in my life, like at this point in my thinking, I was just like shut the fuck up. So I was just like, listen, you do what you got to do. Like if you don't want to count those days, like you do what you got to do. I'm gonna do what I got to do. So like, I don't like all what you're telling me right now is like not like, am I supposed to like am I supposed to care? Like I did care, but like not to the sense like, bro, this Chinese teacher, like, let me drive back up here, bye dad. Let me go up here. Like, no, I didn't. But even now, I still have no regrets. I'm not like, why didn't I just push through? Because like, I don't think I could have those 2 days I needed to be with my father and to like chill the fuck out. So that's an example of what I mean in terms of like just not giving a fuck. And I mean, it can be to varying degrees. Like some people would say like, you can't do that for grades. But like, when you think about it, like, what's a grade compared to like your livelihood? What is anything compared to your health? If it's like fucking up with your health, like even if it's a job, I understand like you can't just like quit your job. Like you have to put bills, like you have to put bills on the table. No, you take bills off the table. You have to put food on the table for you, your kids. You have to like pay electricity. Like I get that. I have an apartment for the first time. Like I 100% can't even fathom actually, you know, living in like dire poverty and having to work like 5 jobs. So like I can't say that, but to the certain degree, like everything has its like limit. You can't be working yourself to death. You can't be stressing. You can't have like, otherwise you'll die. Like then like you won't have a job. You won't be around at all. So I think it's just important for us to realize like what is really needed in life and what's not. I have a whole bunch of friends who I not necessarily cut off, I guess is the new phrase or the old phrase. I don't really cut people off necessarily in the sense that like, hey, I'm done talking to you. Goodbye. Kind of just like stop talking to them. I mean, it's like, for me, it's fairly simple. Like, I don't have to, even like family. Like, if family is like, yeah, it's super hard, but like, at the end of the day, like, like you can't help that person if they're not helping you. And there's just like a lot of levels in that, I understand. But try to step back once in a while and like look at things simplistically, if possible. And that when you just stop caring about certain things that just don't matter to you, life becomes so much easier, so much better. And like, just as an aside, like within this, thinking about like these different like social issues, like racism and like prejudice, like homophobia, like all these different things, I don't understand. Like I to this day, like I will never understand why people care. Like people who are making decisions about like abortion who like aren't women. Like for me, like I feel like I could care less. Like women like need to make their own choices with that. Like why do I would never think I would have to be involved. If anything, like thinking about that adds more to me. Like more things to think about. Like for like same-sex marriage, like that to me, like I guess like I keep on forgetting that this same-sex marriage is not like a thing that's been around forever. It was illegal, literally, like not that long ago, and it's still like oppressed today in many states. Like the fact that people do that, like I could care less who gets married. Like why people will go travel out of their way to like protest these things when it has like nothing to do with them. Doesn't that like, I mean, I don't know if there's any racists or like homophobic people watching this, but like, don't you have like things to do with your life? Like, how do you like you're like taking time to worry about like black people and like for like me, like you guys are thinking about like, oh, I hate this person. He's like trying to like take over the land, the immigrants, anything like that. Like they don't give a fuck about you. Like probably like, yes, we care about like, you shouldn't be around racists and like dictating things, but like I don't care. Like, I don't understand how you could care. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of things I do give a fuck about. Lots of things like voting, vote, and like social issues like education, racism, and like fixing racism. Not past, I don't care about racism. I care about fixing it, I guess. So I guess I do care about, you get what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, I realize like it doesn't like matter who thinks what about you. Yes, in some contexts it does, maybe for your career, for your like, in general, like you can't have people just like constantly calling you names, like that would hurt and like be detrimental to your health. But at the same time, who cares what people think? Like it's you probably, I hope you have people who love you. I love you to some degree, people want you here. And if somebody doesn't, like there's 7 freaking billion people in the world. If 1 or 2 people like are making your life hard, screw it and move on. If you're concerned about this like negative relationship, it's super hard, but if you just let go and just realize that like it's not worth it, because so many things in this world that are not worth it, are not worth fighting for. But there are so many things that are worth fighting for. So diverting your attention to the things that matter, like your own well-being, like fighting for other people, fighting for justice in the world is so much more powerful than tearing yourself down because you're thinking about complex things within your life that really aren't that complex and are very simplistic, such as toxic relationships, toxic jobs, toxic environments, things that yeah, I'm rambling. You get the point. So this week I challenge you guys to start thinking about that and see what you guys can do about it, because I still struggle with it and I'm getting better at it, a lot better at it, and people think I'm an asshole for it. But at the end of the day, like it's my life. And I'm gonna do what I want. So see you Thursday in a new video.